creating a beautiful dream. What does that mean? I believe that we're all the dreamers of our lives, that we can even get to a point where we're just watching our lives like we're watching a movie. And if we are the dreamer of our life, we can dream a nightmare. We can dream chaos. We can dream heartache and hard times, or we can dream a beautiful dream. We can make it as colorful and as vibrant and as abundant and as beautiful as we want. And I truly believe this. I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it with clients. And so we're going to talk about that today and helping you really navigate, what do I really want? What is this dream that's mine and mine alone in all the different areas of my life? So I want to share with you this idea that's been studied, which is around the human desire, the human needs, and Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And this was developed in the 1940s. So obviously the base of the needs would be physiological, right? Breathing, food, water, sex, sleep, this idea of survival. And then it was next was safety, feeling the sense of security, right? Feeling this desire to feel secure. That came with employment and all of that. Then the next need would be love, belonging, friendship, family, feeling sexual intimacy, not just sex for procreation, but for intimacy. Then would be a self-esteem, confidence, achievement, respect. And then the final one would be self-actualization. That was great at the time, right? When we received Maslow's hierarchy of needs, letting us really understand what motivates us. Why do we do the things we do? But it's gotten a little clearer over time. And I want to share with you what's been discovered about human behavior. And I think it will shed light a little bit for you on, why do I do the things I do? Or have I even really gotten to know myself, who I really am? What do I really like? Do I really like pizza, or do I really like that movie? Do I really like hanging out with that person? Do I really like these clothes that I wear, or am I just influenced by what I think I should be wearing and by the foods I think I should be liking? This is the work, right? And even me, who I feel like I've done so much work on, who is Danette and what does she really desire and like in life? I'm finding even more about myself as I go deeper and deeper into it. And I'm telling you, it's a worthy journey, because you're just going to find even more bliss around every corner. So what we've found over time is that there's greater needs outside of even self-actualization, is this desire and this driver of awareness that we have in the world, basically this spiritual perspective of life. And then we also found out that this whole idea of procreating, parenting, and finding a mate are at the core of our existence. So we have this core, and then we have this, I want to know even beyond myself, which we call spiritual perspective, for lack of a better word. So we know that things are not just biological, psychological, or even spiritual, that we're all three of these things. We're biological, we're psychological, emotion, and we're also spiritual being. This is why focusing on one dimension of this isn't going to really help us go to the next level. So on the baseline, we have this basic need to survive, right? I'm going to take this a step further. This would include our health, food, water, the air we breathe, right? How much sleep we're getting. I want you to write down, what do I want when it comes to my health? And not what you think you should be saying, but what do you really want? What kind of food do you want to be eating? How much sleep feels right for you? What kind of sleep? Where do you want to be breathing your air, right? What does your health look like? How does your body feel if it was like exactly how you wanted it? And really taking time to explore that question and writing it out. Now remember, writing it out is potent. The brain works in imagery. So as much as you would draw a flower or draw out this idea of health, which you totally could if you're an artist, writing out just those things I desire, the brain works in that way. So it's writing, or it's like a picture or whatever. That's why I have you write. It's not just to give you something to do. There's potency in writing. Okay. The first question always, because it's the basic, what is my ideal health for me? Not what Danette told me or what I think I should have, but for me. And then second is our desire for ease. Oh my gosh, I was just with some beautiful women in Sedona. What I heard from these, what you would look at is like these really successful women, what we would deem as successful women, is this desire for ease. And I think all of us could be like, yes, that feels so good in my system just to hear that word ease, right? So obviously health fits in this category because when your body's in ease, it's not in dis-ease, right? I actually believe the body was never set up to be in disease. I believe the constructs of our mind, these belief systems we take on, create disease in our body. And when we remove these constructs of our brain, the disease moves out and we're in more ease. So health definitely fits under there, but also financial and career. So I want you to ask yourself and journal and write on this. What do I want when it comes to my financial well-being? What does that look like for me? What feels true for me? A lot of people would say, oh, I'd love $1 million, or I'd love this big home, or I would love to drive this car. But is that really true for you? Because if the fundamental desire is ease, that boat might not cause a lot of ease because you got to take care of that dang boat. Or having a big house, which I heard this weekend, a woman sobbed in my arms over the weekend because she was like, she has, I don't know, 7 properties, like 5 cars. You would think she shouldn't be complaining about it. She felt extreme guilt that she was crying about it, but she was like, I don't want to handle this anymore. I don't want all these, it's so much responsibility. I want to feel ease. So that's not for everyone, right? But a lot of times we don't know that. So we call it in and then we get it. We're like, oh, I thought I wanted to remodel my kitchen, but dang, it feels not ease. So really what's right for you financially? What would feel good for you financially? What would feel good for you in your career? Like what you're doing and how you're spending your time. I would love for you to explore. Now, this is going to take time, you guys, and really look at this stuff for yourself. So what do you want financially? What do you want when it comes to your career? Not what seems realistic, not what seems like what you're already doing, but what is true for you. This is your perfect chance to dream. This is you stepping into you. There's no rules. No one's going to read it but you. What's true for you in your career? Okay. And now the third desire is to connect. And I think a lot of you'd be like, yes, because we're women. This desire to connect with ourselves and to connect with others. So this is where you get to write out, what do you want when it comes to connection with your significant other? How do you want it to look and feel? How much time do you spend together? When you do spend time together, how does it feel? And what are you doing? And I would encourage you to give yourself space on this, right? To really write it out. Now go into your friendships. What are your friendships like? Here's the deal. We know that babies, if they are not getting physical contact and emotional feeling towards them, you guys, this is so sad. And this is something I've known for a long time, is the study of babies that have died in orphanages they had all the food, they were warm, they were changed, but if they didn't have an emotional connection to a caregiver, they passed away. We have found that people will have heart problems, literally heart problems, if they're alone too much. And this desire to connect is a fundamental need. And you get to be the dreamer. What are you going to create for this? I don't want you to get into a space of going, I am alone and this feels really uncomfortable. I want you to be a dreamer for a moment and really write out the dream of what would be this ideal of you connecting with friends. How often? What kind of friends? Because I'm telling you that when you step into this and you see it in your mind's eye and you write it out, you will become a magnet. And I'm going to teach you how to do this so that you start creating this beautiful dream. But it starts here first. Okay. What would you want in this relationship with your children if you have children? What does that look like? Relationship with your external family is important too. If there's boundaries that are being crossed that aren't feeling in flow, what would be, and you're not going to write out the things you don't want. You're only writing the things that you want. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want them to be doing this and this because that's what's happening, you're leaving that out. You're only writing what you would love to see and experience in this lifetime. Okay? Relationship with yourself, which we talked about, which is the most important relationship, right? How do you spend time with yourself? How do you talk to yourself? What do you give to yourself? How do you treat yourself? Do you like being alone? Are you okay with your own company? So many of us are running from ourselves by being busy. If I were to be one-on-one with you, for those of you who are like, I am just so busy, I'd be like, what are you running away from when it comes to yourself? Because we're so smart that we don't even know how we're manipulating ourselves. So really look, how do you like to connect with yourself? Fourth desire is to grow. Crazy, right? This is a fundamental desire for every human being. I don't care what your age is. And this desire to grow is endless. And when you stay in that, it's like you are just this magnetic human being. And who doesn't want to feel that, right? So in this category, you're going to write out, what do you desire when it comes to fun times, to hobbies? Do you like going to places? I like going to comedy clubs. I don't know what it is, but if a comedy club is available, that's what I want to bring more into my life. So that's what I would write down. I see myself at comedy clubs. I see myself at beaches or traveling. Like, what is for you a way that you love to be? What situations do you like to be in that are just fun for the heck of it? But also hobbies can fit into there as well. Maybe you're like, I just really want to knit more. I just want to paint more, right? And then spirituality is growth as well. So when I say spirituality, I also want to do deeper growth on the human mind. I might go see more healers in all these different places around the world when I can. Like for me, that's my growth. That's my spirituality. So what is yours? Because growth is spirituality. And I've heard also people say this a lot, I'm not spiritual. And I have to say, every single person who's stepping into growth is spiritual. So growth in your relationship, growth in your mindset, growth in your forgiveness, all of that is spiritual. All of that's beautiful. And all of it equals more happiness in your life. Okay, final desire that we all have. This one actually blew my mind as I've been researching this desire to let go. That feeling that we belong to something bigger than ourselves. So when this desire to honestly go, I have these fundamental desires, but the ultimate one is just to let go and to trust and to know that I'm a part of something bigger than myself. How potent is that? So this is where this like spiritual artistic person comes in. And if you're like, I'm not really artistic, if you rearrange your furniture or you like to decorate your house or you like to cook, that's a form of expression of artistic. So even some of you are artistic in the form of painting or creating little things or whatnot, but anyone that's trying to create a space in your home is artistic too. So that is that part too, as well as give back. So where are you stepping? What would be good for you, or what feels in alignment for you when it comes to artistic expression? And what also feels good for you, and what do you want when it comes to give back? I believe this is a fundamental need that a lot of people are not actually really thinking about. We're just showing up, which is great when the need arises, but are you thinking about, like, where can I contribute more? Where can I maybe serve and give back of yourself because you're a part of something bigger than yourself? So what I want to share with you is that taking all of this and spending time on really looking and asking yourself, and granted, this is going to be an evolution because you're going to start unlayering to you. What do you want? That's one of the biggest questions you can ask yourself. I'm just asking you to look at it in these specific categories that are the fundamental needs of every single human. And I believe, because I've done this work and I continue to do it every single year, as you look at these and you actually ask yourself and you start to write down the things you want, not the things you don't want, the things you want, your brain starts to create inspiration or ideas or connections for you to start attracting those things that you want. So this is where it starts. How cool is this? And now you're on this path, and this is how it looks, and this is how it starts.